Captain Sarah Chen stared at the blinking notification on her datapad with growing concern. The message was simple enough. Unidentified vessel approaching lunar defense perimeter. Non-hostile signature detected. First contact protocols initiated. What worried her wasn't the message itself, but rather the fact that she was probably the least qualified person currently available to handle humanity's first alien encounter. She was supposed to be overseeing routine maintenance on the Lunar Gateway Station. Instead, every senior diplomat and official who should have been handling this situation was currently stuck in a 3-day conference on Earth discussing theoretical first contact procedures. The irony wasn't lost on her. "Ma'am," her AI assistant AI chimed in, "the vessel has established a holding pattern at the perimeter. They're broadcasting what appears to be a universal greeting sequence, mathematical constants, and simple element diagrams." Sarah straightened her slightly wrinkled uniform. "Well, at least they're following the textbook. Have you notified Earth?" "Yes, but given the current solar storm activity, we're experiencing significant communication delays. The delegation won't be able to arrive for at least 6 hours." "Wonderful," Sarah muttered. "And I suppose our visitors are requesting immediate contact." Actually, Aria's tone shifted to what Sarah had come to recognize as its puzzled voice. "They seem rather hesitant. Their approach has been extremely cautious. Current speed suggests they're using minimal propulsion, and they've positioned themselves behind one of our automated cargo vessels." Sarah frowned. "They're hiding from us." She pulled up the sensor readings. The alien ship was indeed practically cowering behind a routine supply freighter. For a species capable of interstellar travel, they were behaving remarkably timidly. "Should I attempt direct communication?" Aria asked. Sarah considered her options. Protocol dictated waiting for the proper authorities, but something about this situation nagged at her. "Open a channel. Let's at least say hello." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing what appeared to be the alien vessel's bridge. Sarah blinked in surprise. The beings before her looked almost like elegant floating jellyfish, their translucent bodies gently pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. What caught her attention, however, was their posture. If she was reading their alien body language correctly, they seemed terrified. "Greetings," Sarah began, trying to project calm professionalism. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Lunar Gateway Station. On behalf of humanity, we welcome." The aliens immediately erupted in a cascade of frightened lights and rapid tentacle movements. Their translator kicked in, rendering their response in a synthetic voice. "Please, we mean no harm. We are simple explorers. We acknowledge your species' dominance." Sarah stared in confusion. "I thank you, but there's no need for alarm. We're peaceful. Yes, we see your mighty battle station. We understand your warning." The aliens' lights pulsed frantically. The debris field around your world, the thousands of artificial constructs in orbit. Truly an impressive display of your species' prowess. It took Sarah a moment to realize what they meant. They were interpreting Earth's satellite network and space junk as some kind of territorial marking display. Before she could correct them, one of the aliens gestured frantically at something off-screen. "The primitive vessel we hide behind. We recognize it as a test. You demonstrate your power by allowing such an obviously inferior craft to guard your approach. Truly, only a species of ultimate confidence would display such casual superiority." Sarah had to bite her lip to keep from laughing. They thought the automated cargo ship was some kind of statement. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding. And your leader?" Another alien chimed in, lights flickering in what seemed like religious awe. "Addressing us alone, without guards or weapons. Such fearlessness. Truly, we are in the presence of an apex species." Sarah dropped her head into her hands. This was rapidly spiraling out of control. "Please, if you'll just let me explain." At that moment, her coffee mug, precariously perched on the console, chose to tip over. Sarah lunged to catch it, making a sharp movement toward the screen. The aliens recoiled in terror, their lights strobing in panic. It movies with such a situation. Their translator struggled to keep up with their frantic communications. We say we beganite. We say we beganite. The screen went dark as the alien vessel rapidly backed away from the station, still broadcasting messages of submission and respect. Sarah stood frozen, coffee dripping from her hand, staring at the blank screen in disbelief. "ARIA," she said finally. "Please tell me you recorded all of that." "Affirmative, Captain." "Should I prepare a report for Earth?" Sarah sank into her chair, trying to imagine explaining this to her superiors. "Yes, but maybe leave out the part about the coffee mug. And ARIA, mark this as urgent. I think we may have accidentally convinced our first alien contact that humans are the galaxy's apex predators." As she watched the alien ships retreat on her sensors, Sarah couldn't help but wonder how humanity would deal with this unexpected reputation. Something told her this was only the beginning of a very interesting series of misunderstandings. Admiral Marcus Wong of the United Earth Defense Force rubbed his temples as he reviewed the latest diplomatic incident report. In the 3 months since the infamous coffee mug incident, humanity's reputation had spread through the galactic community like wildfire, and things were getting out of hand. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," he addressed the holographic projections of his crisis management team. "The Zixtal Empire, a civilization that's dominated 3 spiral arms of the galaxy for 10,000 years, just ceded us control of 2 star systems because one of our survey ships got lost and accidentally wandered into their territory." Dr. Emily Rodriguez, head of xenoanthropology, tried to suppress a smile as she replied, "Yes, sir." Apparently, they interpreted Lieutenant Park's frustrated GPS recalibration as, and I quote, "a display of unprecedented territorial aggression through deliberately casual navigation of sovereign space." "He was trying to find a gas station," Marcus said flatly. "They don't know that, sir. To them, the fact that we would send a single small vessel into their territory without apparent concern suggested either insanity or overwhelming military superiority. Given our reputation, they assumed the latter." Marcus pulled up another report. "And what about this situation with the Harmonious Collective? Something about a sonic weapon demonstration." Communications Officer Chen, no relation to the now famous Captain Sarah Chen, cleared his throat. "That would be the karaoke incident, sir. A group of off-duty engineers were celebrating a birthday on Outpost 7 when a collective diplomatic vessel passed by. They picked up the sounds of enthusiastic singing." "Don't tell me." "The collective concluded that we were casually demonstrating our mastery of psychic warfare through coordinated vocal assault patterns. They were particularly impressed by what they termed the ancient battle cry of surviving additional solar cycles." Marcus dropped his head into his hands. "They heard happy birthday." "Yes, sir. They've since requested an alliance, offering advanced shield technology in exchange for our sonic protection." Before Marcus could respond, his AI assistant interrupted. "Priority message from the Galactic Council, sir, marked urgent." "Put it through," Marcus sighed, wondering what misunderstanding he'd have to deal with now. The holographic display shifted to show a collection of diverse alien representatives, all maintaining what their species considered respectful distances from each other. The council speaker, a crystalline being that communicated through light patterns, pulsed urgently. "Esteemed human leadership," the translator rendered, "we seek your immediate counsel regarding a grave matter. The swarm has awakened." Marcus straightened in his chair. The swarm was no joke. A legitimate threat that had been dormant for centuries, known for consuming entire solar systems. "We're listening. Our predictive models suggest they will begin their expansion within the lunar cycle. The Council has agreed that humanity's unique capabilities make you best suited to lead the response." Marcus exchanged glances with his team. This was no longer about coffee mugs and karaoke. This was serious. "Speaker, while we're honored, I should inform you that some of our previous interactions may have given the Council the wrong impression about Your modesty is noted and respected, apex species, the speaker interrupted, misinterpreting his attempt at honesty. But we have seen enough. Your species casually establishes outposts in the most hazardous environments, sends single vessels to challenge empires, and demonstrates devastating sonic capabilities purely for entertainment. Your young celebrate survival with psychic battle rituals. You have turned your homeworld's orbit into a maze of artificial weapons and warnings. Those are satellites and space debris, Marcus tried to explain, but the speaker continued. Most tellingly, you have never once attempted to convince us of your power. Such confidence can only come from absolute security in one's position at the top of the cosmic order. Marcus fell silent, realizing the impossible position humanity now found itself in. They had accidentally convinced the galaxy's most powerful civilizations that Earth was some kind of supreme military power, and now those same civilizations were turning to them for help against a very real threat. We will need time to prepare our response, he said carefully. Of course, the speaker pulsed reassuringly. We would expect nothing less from those who have mastered the art of casual dominance. The Council awaits your strategic wisdom. As the transmission ended, Marcus looked at his team. Well, he said after a long moment, I suppose we better figure out how to live up to our reputation. Because the galaxy's about to discover whether humanity's legendary status is deserved, and we can't afford to disappoint them. Dr. Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting we continue to let them believe? I'm suggesting, Marcus interrupted, that sometimes the best way to become what others believe you to be is to start believing it yourself. Contact Captain Chen. If we're going to save the galaxy, we might as well do it in true human fashion, making it up as we go along and hoping nobody notices we have no idea what we're doing. As his team began to mobilize, Marcus couldn't help but smile. Humanity had bluffed its way into becoming the galaxy's most feared species. Now they just had to bluff their way through saving it. Captain Sarah Chen stood in front of the hastily assembled Humanity's Emergency Response to Overestimated Status Committee, or HEROES for short. The irony of the acronym wasn't lost on anyone present. The good news, she began, gesturing to the holographic display of known swarm movements, is that our reputation has bought us valuable preparation time. The bad news is that the swarm is very much real, and they're coming. The room, a converted cargo bay aboard the Lunar Gateway Station, was packed with Earth's brightest minds. Scientists, military strategists, and the same diplomats who had missed first contact while discussing theoretical protocols. The latter group still hadn't lived that down. Dr. James Patel, lead xenobiologist, raised his hand. I've been analyzing the data shared by the Galactic Council. The swarm operates like a hybrid between locust behavior and molecular acid. They don't just consume resources. They break down matter at the atomic level and repurpose it. Conventional weapons might slow them, but won't stop them. And we're supposed to be the galaxy's experts at stopping them. Admiral Wong added dryly. Any suggestions on how to live up to our accidental reputation? Sarah stepped forward. Actually, yes. We've been looking at this all wrong. Everyone expects us to have some kind of supreme military technology or devastating superweapons. But that's not what made them fear us in the first place. She pulled up the recordings from various alien encounters. Look at the pattern. Every time they interpreted normal human behavior as terrifying, it wasn't because we were trying to be intimidating. It was because we were just being human. What exactly are you suggesting? Admiral Wong asked, though his expression suggested he was already following her logic. I'm suggesting we stop trying to pretend we're something we're not and start using what actually makes humans unique. Our ability to adapt, improvise, and turn absolutely anything into a solution. Dr. Rodriguez, who had been quietly analyzing data in the corner, looked up. The mining colonies on Europa. Exactly. Sarah nodded. The swarm breaks down matter at the atomic level. Well, we've been developing molecular reconstruction techniques for ice mining for years. Not as weapons, but as tools. The principles are similar. And the atmosphere processors on Mars, Dr. Patel added, catching on. We designed them to break down complex compounds and restructure them. If we reverse the process. Admiral Wong stood up. We could turn their own molecular deconstruction against them. But we'd need a delivery system, a way to deploy it across vast distances. Sarah grinned. Remember those primitive cargo ships that so impressed our first visitors? The ones designed to operate autonomously for months in deep space. What if we repurposed them? The room buzzed with energy as more ideas started flowing. Every piece of human technology, every solution developed for survival and exploration in space, began to look like a potential weapon against the swarm. There's just one problem, a voice called from the back. Dr. Lisa Chang, quantum communications specialist, stepped forward. Everything we're proposing is theoretical. We've never attempted anything like this at this scale. The chances of success are exactly what humanity has always dealt with. Sarah finished. Every major achievement in human history started with someone trying something that probably shouldn't have worked. Admiral Wong nodded slowly. And we have one advantage the swarm doesn't expect. The entire galaxy thinks we know exactly what we're doing. The command center of Operation Human Shield was chaos. Organized chaos, but chaos nonetheless. Hundreds of holographic displays showed the positions of ships from 24 alien civilizations, all awaiting humanity's signal to begin what Captain Sarah Chen had dubbed the craziest thing we've ever tried. Mining Fleet Epsilon reports ready, Araya announced. The Zixtal Empire's quantum arrays are aligned. The harmonious collective sonic amplifiers are still attempting to replicate Happy Birthday. Tell them to stop that, Sarah ordered, not looking up from her strategic display. We need those amplifiers for the actual plan. Admiral Wong stood beside her, watching the swarm's approach on the main screen. You know, when I joined the Space Force, I never imagined I'd be coordinating an attack using modified ice mining equipment, reprogrammed cargo drones, and what basically amounts to a giant space recycling system. Don't forget the hamster wheel, Dr. Patel added helpfully from his station. The rotational energy from the modified gravity generator is key to the whole plan. I'm trying to forget the hamster wheel, Wong muttered, especially the part where we had to explain it to the Galactic Council. Sarah smiled, remembering that particular briefing. The aliens had been so convinced of humanity's superior intelligence that they'd accepted her deliberately vague explanation of quantum rotational energy manipulation without question. In reality, they were using glorified spinning rings to create a makeshift particle accelerator, but sometimes reputation had its advantages. Swarm contact in 30 minutes, Araya announced. All ships report ready for Phase 1. Sarah took a deep breath. Begin transmission to all Allied vessels. The communication system activated, broadcasting her voice to every ship in the makeshift fleet. This is Captain Chen. In 29 minutes, we begin our assault on the swarm. Everyone has their assignments. Remember, no matter what you see, no matter how strange our tactics may appear, stick to the plan. Humanity knows what it's doing. She muted the transmission and turned to Admiral Wong. God, I hope we know what we're doing. Too late to back out now, he replied. Besides, the physics is sound. Mostly. The next 29 minutes passed in a blur of final preparations. The modified cargo drones moved into position, their usual shipping containers replaced with tanks of specialized molecular catalysts developed from mining technology. The Zixtal quantum arrays aligned themselves in what Dr. Chang insisted was definitely not a giant space antenna, more like a quantum probability manipulator, though everyone knew it was basically a giant space antenna. Swarm entering range, Araya reported. Initial mass readings are concerning. The main screen showed the approaching threat, a vast cloud of metallic particles that moved with horrible purpose, breaking down everything in its path into component atoms. The swarm made traditional space battles look quaint. You couldn't fight atoms with lasers. Well, Sarah said, good thing we're not trying to fight them. Phase 1. Begin. The cargo drones accelerated forward, their holds releasing clouds of modified mining catalyst. The swarm, programmed to break down and absorb all matter, did exactly what they expected. It began consuming the catalyst. Phase 2. Sarah ordered. The harmonious collective's sonic amplifiers activated, sending precisely calibrated waves through space. The frequencies, based on the mathematical patterns humans had discovered in Europa's ice caves, caused the catalyst particles to resonate at the atomic level. They're destabilizing, Dr. Paddle reported excitedly. The swarm's atomic deconstruction process is being disrupted. Phase 3. Sarah commanded. Start the hamster wheel. The massive rotating rings of the modified gravity generator began to spin, creating a gravitational vortex that pulled the destabilized swarm particles into a concentrated stream. The Zixtal quantum arrays fired, their energy turning the stream into a superheated plasma. Now for the crazy part, Sarah muttered. All mining ships, activate molecular reconstructors. The fleet of ice mining vessels, positioned in a sphere around the operation, activated their modified equipment. Instead of breaking down ice molecules, they were now reversely reconstructing the swarm's component atoms into inert matter. On the main screen, the cloud of deadly particles began to coalesce into harmless metallic spheres. The process chain was working: destabilization, concentration, transformation, and reconstruction, all using repurposed industrial equipment. Status report, Admiral Wong demanded. Swarm mass reducing by 30%, 50%, 70%. Araya reported. Reconstruction process stable. Remaining swarm particles attempting to retreat but caught in gravitational field. Sarah allowed herself to breathe. Continue operations until full reconstruction is achieved. And somebody please tell the Harmonious Collective to stop trying to add a musical accompaniment to the process. Hours later, where the swarm had been, there was now a field of inert metal spheres, raw materials that could be safely collected and repurposed. The greatest threat to galactic civilization had been defeated not by superior weapons, but by human ingenuity and recycling equipment. As the all-clear signals went out, Admiral Wong turned to Sarah. The Galactic Council is requesting a detailed explanation of our supreme military technology. Sarah looked at the hastily assembled collection of mining equipment, cargo ships, and spinning rings that had somehow saved the galaxy. Tell them it's classified. Some mysteries of human superiority must remain secret, and the fact that we basically turned the galaxy's most dangerous weapon into space recycling. That's definitely classified. Let them keep thinking we're terrifying apex predators. It's easier than explaining that we just defeated an unstoppable enemy with glorified garbage collection. The Admiral smiled. You know, at some point, we're going to have to tell them the truth about humanity. Maybe, Sarah agreed, watching the Allied ships begin collecting the reconstructed material. But not today. Today, let them believe in the legend. Sometimes a good story is more valuable than the truth, especially when the truth involves hamster wheels. 3 months after the defeat of the swarm, Captain Sarah Chen found herself standing before the full Galactic Council. The vast chamber, designed to accommodate beings of all sizes and atmospheric requirements, hummed with anticipation. The Council had requested a full debriefing on humanity's supreme military technology, and Sarah had been chosen, or perhaps sentenced, to deliver it. Esteemed members of the Council, she began, feeling Admiral Wong's supportive presence behind her. The time has come for humanity to share the truth about our capabilities. The crystalline form of the Council speaker pulsed with interest. We are honored that you choose to reveal your secrets, though such openness is unnecessary. Your species has more than proved its dominance. Sarah took a deep breath. That's just it. We're not dominant. We're not apex predators. We're not even particularly aggressive by galactic standards. We're just adaptable. A wave of confused light patterns and electromagnetic signals swept through the chamber. The speaker's crystals shifted to a frequency indicating puzzlement. But your mighty battle stations, your territorial displays, your sonic weapons, space stations built for scientific research, satellites for communication and navigation, plus a lot of debris we really should clean up. And that sonic weapon you're so impressed by. It's called karaoke. It's just people singing badly for fun. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien expressions of disbelief. Sarah pressed on. Even our victory over the swarm, we didn't use supreme military technology. We used mining equipment, cargo ships, and she paused, still unable to believe this part herself. What was essentially a giant hamster wheel. Impossible. A representative of the Zixtal Empire protested. We saw your confidence, your casual display of power. What you saw was humans doing what humans have always done, making things up as we go along and hoping for the best. That first contact where I scared your explorers, I was trying to catch a falling coffee cup. Every time you thought we were demonstrating power, we were usually just trying to solve everyday problems, or, occasionally, having a party. The speaker's crystalline form flickered rapidly. But the swarm, you defeated them so efficiently. Because we're good at recycling, Sarah said simply. We had to be. Earth taught us that resources are finite, and that survival sometimes means finding new ways to use what you have. We didn't see the swarm as an invincible enemy. We saw them as a really aggressive form of waste that needed to be repurposed. Admiral Wong stepped forward. Everything you found impressive about us came from necessity, not dominance. We build in hazardous environments because we have to. We solve problems creatively because we have no choice. We're not fearless. We're just really good at working through our fears to get things done. A new voice rang out. The representative of the harmonious collective. But this makes no sense. If you knew you were not supreme beings, why coordinate our defense? Why take such responsibility? Sarah smiled. Because that's also what humans do. When there's a crisis, we step up. Not because we're special or superior, but because someone has to, and we're too stubborn to give up just because something seems impossible. The chamber fell silent as the aliens processed this revelation. Finally, the speaker pulsed softly. You deceived us. No, Sarah corrected. We let you believe what you wanted to believe because it helped us save everyone. But now you deserve the truth, even if it means losing our status. To her surprise, the speaker began to pulse with what her translator identified as amusement. Captain Chen, you claim you are not apex predators, yet you turned mining equipment into a weapon that defeated the greatest threat our galaxy has ever known. You say you are not superior, yet you united species that have warred for millennia. You insist you are not special, yet you alone looked at a swarm of planet-destroying particles and thought, ah yes, recycling opportunity. The chamber filled with alien versions of laughter as the speaker continued. Perhaps we were wrong about why humans should be feared and respected. But we were not wrong that you should be. Admiral Wong stepped forward. What exactly are you saying? We are saying, the speaker's crystals shimmered, that we would prefer to keep humanity as our protectors. Not because you are apex predators, but because you are something far more valuable, problem solvers who never learned when to quit. Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. So, you're not angry about the deception. Angry? Captain, you defeated an unstoppable enemy with recycling and what did you call it? Hamster wheel. If anything, we are more impressed now than before, though we would very much like to learn more about this karaoke. For research purposes, of course. As the chamber filled with supportive signals from the assembled species, Sarah exchanged a relieved look with Admiral Wong. Humanity had stumbled into becoming the galaxy's protectors through a series of misunderstandings and improvised solutions. But maybe that was exactly why they deserved the role. Very well, she addressed the council. We accept the position on one condition. From now on, we do things the human way. No more pretending to be fearless apex predators. Instead, we'll face each challenge the way we always have, with creativity, adaptability, and the willingness to try absolutely anything that might work, no matter how ridiculous it seems. The speaker's crystalline form glowed with approval. We would expect nothing less from the species that saved the galaxy with garbage collection technology, though perhaps we should keep that particular detail classified. Some myths, after all, are worth preserving. Sarah couldn't help but laugh. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as the supreme predator everyone had initially feared, but as something far more interesting. The species crazy enough to try the impossible and stubborn enough to make it work. Errata, she subvocalized to her AI assistant. Make a note. Schedule a galactic karaoke night. Let's show them what human cultural exchange really looks like. Are you sure that's wise, Captain? Arwaya asked. Probably not. Sarah grinned. But that's never stopped us before.